Hi, welcome back to Renee Ruth Music. Hope everyone is doing well. How are you, Renee?
I'm well, and you?
Fabulous, fabulous. Today's different
Why?
because today, we've never done this before, but we're going to do a highlight this episode.
This is a highlight day?
It's a highlight day.
Oh.
So, for anyone that is not aware, we lost a music legend.
I feel like that loss made waves. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you could be under a rock, but you heard about
We
it.
still heard about it. So we lost Olivia Newton-John a few days ago, which was so sad.
ONJ.
I know. And you had, it was funny, you had actually not funny, but you had said that you had just read about her and were even like thinking about the fact that you wanted to meet her. Like right around the time of her death.
Yeah, no, the day. So that morning, I've been reading a book called Ask. That's by the guy that wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. I can see it from here, but I can't
Right.
think of his name. I can't think of it. Sorry, sir. Your name is escaping me. But the book's called Ask, and there's like a subtitle that I can't think of either. Anyway.
We'll put it in the credits.
Yes, we'll drop the Amazon link.
That's
so
right.
We'll get you purchases. So yes, you should actually, sidebar, 100% read this
Yeah, I'm
book.
starting to read it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I finished it and then handed it to him. But the premise of the book is that success in life is derived from asking.
Yes.
We actually just finished a podcast for real estate talking about asking questions. Like, knowledge is power. It helps you get somewhere. And so in the end, the very last chapter was very cool because he flipped it to, once you've asked enough and you've gotten enough, generated enough for yourself, you turn around and become a giver. Like the grantor of wishes, I think is what he called it. So he was discussing in this chapter some of the grantor of wishes that he had met in his life. And there was literally this was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
She passed away?
Oh, no, she passed away on the 8th. So
What's
this was
today?
today's the 11th, so it was a few days ago.
It was Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monday I walk to work, and I read when I walk to work. Don't worry, it's not as dangerous as this sounds. And it's a very quiet street in the middle of nowhere. So I was reading the book, and one of the ones that he was speaking about, like he was talking about who've become very close friends that have the same mindset that he has, which is that we rise because we help others rise, and that
Right.
as we're given more is to be given, and like just that whole ideology. And he started talking about Olivia Newton-John and how like her and her husband, whose name is also escaping me, but that they've been married a long time.
Yeah.
And have spent a lot of their life giving back, as they've been both very successful. And I know Olivia Newton-John's name because of Grease. Like that's a show that I remember watching as a kid. I think the Dollar Movie Theater that we once had would revive these older movies. You could go see them on the big screen, and that's the only thing I knew about her. I mean, I did know she sang and obviously continued on in a career, but I didn't know much about that career. And so I started to read about her in this book. And how she had spent the bulk of her life, like if she met someone who had a need and she was capable of fulfilling that need, she'd do it instantaneously. Like she didn't, down to the fact that like the author and his wife were with them, and the wife was like, her husband had owned a holistic cosmetic company that made this vitamin C product that the author's wife swore by. And she mentioned it to Olivia and was like, oh, I just love this product. And he sold the company. It's not the same anymore, as that always goes.
Right, of course.
Sell the company and it chins out. So Olivia said, oh, I found one that's just about as good as his was. Because how dare she say, no,
Right.
But just about as good as his was. And I love it. And she's like, here, I'll get you the name. So the next day, she just hands this bottle to her. She went out because she knew, not even that this author's wife was in need financially of this gift. She just knew that this is something that she wanted to find and went and got it. And then, of course, they looked at the price of it, and it was not cheap. But because Olivia.
Right.
But I mean, it was just, I remember, so that's something on a very, friendship level, but then also that she was just very giving of her time. And that's something that's the most precious thing. They were speaking at a church, and he said to her, hey, I'm at this church in your in the town you're in. Would you come sing in the morning, for this talk or the sermon or whatever? And she looked at her schedule and she had a show that night, but she was free in the morning, so she said yes. And she whenever, like, she was just in the habit of saying yes. You know, like, if it's within my power to do so, I will. I'm reading about her that morning, and I thought, I want to meet her. I was like, she's in her 70s, you know, she would have been, she's the same age as my mom would have been. And I thought, I really want to meet this person. I really want to know about her life, her career. I said, she sounds like somebody that I would identify with. And kind of just went about the rest of my day. And then we were in the office, and I had a call with my sync agent. They were doing like a sync 1 hour, power hour. And in the middle of the call, that my sync agent goes, oh my gosh, Olivia Newton-John just died. And I'm like, what? Like, but it was just like, wait, what? Like, but I just found out, oh.
That's awful.
And I was just like, oh, I wanted to meet her.
She would have been fabulous to me.
Right? So it was just, and then you go down this like trail of, well, then as we tend to do, we don't pay a lot of attention to people sometimes till they're gone.
Right.
And so, you know, I ended up down this Olivia Newton-John rabbit hole because I'm like, I read 3 pages about her and I wanted to meet her. I'm like, so wait, what's her deal? Anybody, like, what was her deal?
Oh, it was fascinating. She did so much.
So
I had no idea. Greece was literally the only thing I knew, which I feel like is the case for a lot of
I think
people.
most people watching this,
So,
and then I think if you're in the right age group, you're
right.
like, what?
Yeah.
Grease, like the stuff you put in a pan.
Right. Well, she did Greece in 1978.
The year I was born.
Yeah, and she was 28 playing a high school senior, which of
Wow.
course was always so funny.
What's
That's not changed.
She looked as fabulous in her 70s.
Well, yeah, I mean that was just the way it is. Like anybody playing a high school senior is always like
In their 20s.
yeah, 20s and 30s. So
Like
that's
a little nana to another.
right. Yeah, so that's just like par for the course. But yeah, so she was in Greece in 1978, which it ended up being phenomenal.
Oh, it was iconic. It just kept.
Yeah, and they actually re-released it in 1998 for the 20th anniversary, and it ranked the second highest grossing film behind Titanic for its opening weekend. And of course, we all know how
On a
huge
re-release.
on a re-release, and we know how huge Titanic was.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's pretty phenomenal. Which I mean, just gives credit to how amazing all of those performances were. So
The whole show. If you're watching this and you haven't seen Grease,
right.
it's kind of like the Top Gun situation. Like,
Yeah.
like go watch those things because they're remarkable. But
Yeah, but Greece was just one thing. I mean, it was just a drip in the bucket of all the stuff she did. I had no idea.
Which I didn't know, so I tasked Chad here to like look up more about who she was.
Yeah.
Because I thought, this is somebody that is a singer and wasn't just a singer, but has life. Her approach to life is not dissimilar from my own. So we shared to me a lot in that regard.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is her deal? Like, what did she do all this time?
Well, she did so much. It was, I mean, literally, I could read for half an hour all the things that she's
It'd be
done.
like story time.
It's like story time.
John, yeah.
But we'll just kind of hit highlights just to kind of get a few out. But she is a 4-time Grammy Award winner. I did not know that.
I just want
Which I was
one.
like, right?
4 times?
4, yeah. She did a lot in the 70s. Like, it was phenomenal. And then even in the 90s, I think she got her last one. But yeah, it was crazy. So she's, had #1 hit after #1 hit. Double platinum albums. Like,
What were you telling me about Taylor Swift?
oh yeah, so she, for 45 years, Olivia held the Guinness World Record for the shortest gap by a female between #1 albums until Taylor Swift in 2020.
Meaning, they release an album, it hits #1. Release another album, and it also hits #1.
Like
If you don't know what a feat that is.
right? In like a 4-month period.
It was 4 months?
Because 154 days, 4 or 5 months.
See, my question to her would have
So-
been, did you write the next album in that 4 months? Or was this like, you were writing 2 albums worth of stuff and then
Right, and then it was just how they placed it.
because I can't, I tried to write an album in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And like to make hits like that in such a short amount of time, and then the amount we're still not done
No.
editing and da da da.
Mhm.
So I mean,
Like, that's crazy. And to hold it for that long,
how long?
154 days, so I guess that's 5 months.
5 months, and she held that record
So,
for.
45 years. 45? I'm not even 45.
I'm not either.
Held that record for
She held it
45
for
years.
45 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there should be a crown that she gave.
I know. She gave Olivia.
And then gave it to Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Who did it in 140 days?
Oh, just 5 days shorter.
No, 14 days. 2 weeks shorter.
Wow.
So she and that was, I guess, I don't know, because I don't know what Taylor did in that, because it was Folklore and Evermore were the 2 albums. So I don't know the story behind.
Curious to ask her the same thing.
Yeah.
She's still here to answer. Would be like,
because she's done a lot of stuff recently where she like has brought songs back. She's been redoing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Taking back her catalog. So I don't know if that was like
a redo.
If that was because she had released songs that she already had.
A re-release feels like it shouldn't qualify though.
I know. So I don't know the story behind those 2 albums for Taylor, how she did that in such a short span.
Or either of them.
I'd be curious. 45 years, like that's pretty good.
No other artist.
No other female artist.
Female artist.
No other female has done that in such a short amount of time. 45 years.
Mariah, Whitney,
Yeah.
like okay.
Wow. That's crazy.
And then that's what's so crazy. I just said Mariah and Whitney, and more people probably know more about their music and their career than Olivia Newton-John.
But what I thought was really cute, which made me think of you, so I feel like you guys would have actually gotten along really well.
I know we would have.
Was that she formed a short-lived all-girl group with 3 classmates at the age of 14, and that was what she started. She was singing in coffee shops.
See, I just waited too late in life to
I was like, oh, you would have totally done that.
That's what I did. I just happened to be 30 when I started. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, well, because you would sing the songs on, you would drink Hall and like sing
when I was a kid.
kids. I was like, oh, you would have gotten right along with her. So
Great Hall sings. Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. So, but yeah, so global sales of more than 100 million records. She's one of the best-selling music artists from the second half of the 20th century.
So you can imagine that she probably amassed a decent little nest egg for herself financially.
Yeah.
And what I know to be true is that like they gave, frequently to different organizations, she was very humanitarian.
Yeah.
In the use of her funds. Like I think sometimes people get a lot of money and get rich and then it turns into this like, what can I get me? Right? It turns into like you sit on it or you drink it away, eat it away, or whatever you're doing, but it's very like individual, where there's artists like her who was given a lot and then turned around and gave a lot. I think you looked up some of the organizations she was a part of.
Yeah, so in 2006 she released a healing CD called Grace and Gratitude that was sold exclusively by Walgreens to benefit various charities, including the YME National Breast Cancer Organization, which I think is fabulous.
And I never heard about it.
I never knew. I don't shop at Walgreens that much.
No, I don't either. But even if you did, I kind of feel like the time that Starbucks had. Remember they used to have CDs?
Yeah, they used to do that a lot.
Yeah, they'd have different artists that managed to give them to.
Right, they would kind of like feature different ones.
You know what happened is 2006 was the shift. Like Napster had showed up, and so CDs were starting like an exit.
Yeah, no, that's true. So I feel like that could have been why that was.
And that was something else I learned, that she had battled with breast cancer for 30 years.
Such a long time.
Like, we're talking this woman, and the woman kept going. Like, she didn't let it, because this is what I read about her, because I was reading about that battle, and how she over and over said, it's my mindset. I'm not allowing this to slow me down. And it makes me wonder, like, you could talk to some people that knew her when she passed, like, did she decide it was enough? Like, I think we get to a place in life where you're like, yeah, that's good. I'm done.
Oh yeah. No,
that's good. I've done it. And like, I don't know, she 30 years is a long fight, man. Like,
yeah. No,
and so that's why she was very big advocate for breast cancer.
No, she was. She in 1994 she actually released, and I don't know if it was, I'm assuming it was a CD, but she released Gaia, One Woman's Journey, which chronicled her ordeal with breast cancer.
For real?
Yeah.
That would have been her first diagnosis.
Yeah.
Right?
So that was like when it started. So she was kind of like starting to like talk about it at that point, which I was like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, we've been 2 years after she. Well, no, because it's something that like we consider those things so taboo.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about the difficult stuff, and in some ways it's not a bad thing. Like you don't want to what's the word? I'm actually articulate. I actually have words.
You do have words, the good ones.
And I can't make this one happen.
No.
Ruminate.
Okay.
Like where we ruminate about the situations in our life. And so like you don't want to talk about some of those things so much that it turns into this negative wheel that you get on. But I think we do a disservice sometimes to just shut it out because it's not like we just finished talking about how knowledge is power. Like, use the experience for good.
Yeah.
And not use it as an opportunity. They'll only promise the press takes everything.
Well, I know.
And like you can't even be someone like Olivia Newton-John and go through something without it turning into this tabloid situation.
Right.
And I get we're in a world where people like to be sensationalized, read sensational things, but it's sometimes we're just like, let's make the sensationalism positive.
Right, I was just saying the fact that she was still able to take that and turn it into a positive.
Made it good.
Yeah, and be able to give somebody, be able to give and be able to be a part of so many. She did a UNICEF concert and became a Goodwill ambassador.
Do you remember the UNICEF boxes?
Yes, I do. I was thinking
every time I hear UNICEF, I think of, so here we are aging ourselves.
I know, right?
But there was like at Halloween, we would go around to collect candy and change.
Yeah.
So we have our little UNICEF boxes with a little slit. We say trick or treat and then hold up the box, like, here's the candy and here, donate to the, what a great thing.
I know.
To get kids to go around and collect, assuming we sent it off to you, so we did.
We did, but yeah.
We did.
It was just, so I think it's cool that she was still able to, from something that can be so traumatizing, she was still able to go and make it good.
And I think that's a great lesson because life is going to have trauma and there's just no two ways around that. But to take that trauma and turn it into good, I think that's a life well lived. I think that's what you found when you went through her life story, and that's even what I found in the glossing over it I did after she passed, was that this was a woman who lived her life well.
Oh, she did.
Like she made sure that it wasn't just about her. It was about the people that were close to her that she loved, and then it was about the people in her community, and then it was about the world.
Right.
She made a world impact in the entertainment industry, and then took that and impacted the world in return. I think that should be the goal.
Yeah.
If you find great success in the world, you should return so much back to it. And I think she did that.
No, she did. She was. What was so fun about her career, looking back at everything she did, is that she didn't brand herself into one music category.
Oh, you told me this.
It was so crazy.
Because Grease was like a musical theater.
Yeah.
So when I saw her in Grease, I assumed that she was just big into music. Like I assumed she was just
like Broadway.
She did Broadway, and that was her space. I honestly didn't even know she was a singer.
I didn't either.
Like had albums.
Sorry, Olivia. I had no idea.
Like had albums.
Yeah,
I didn't even know.
Of them.
Did she tour?
She did a lot.
Did anyone see Olivia?
I had no idea. No, well, because I think part of it was that she was in America for a lot of that. So it wasn't until she came over, because she was Australian. She was in the UK for a long time, so she made her way over here. But so not all of her career was in America.
Oh, that explains so much, especially because we weren't so digitalized.
Right, we just had no idea. But she actually did some country. She did some country music. I had no idea.
Is it like American country music?
Yes.
Really?
And people were not okay with it.
I can only imagine.
It was so much.
Well, were they not okay because she didn't sound country?
No, because she wasn't American. They legitimately were upset that she was a foreigner because you don't step on country singers' toes.
We're talking about the South.
Yeah, because she won awards.
For her country music?
Yeah. Like
CMT?
People won out against Dolly and people.
Now you're ruffling feathers.
No, you're
Olivia.
Olivia ruffled some feathers.
You're ruffling feathers.
So it's crazy. But yeah, she did some country, she did some R&B. She's done a lot of different genres. She did not stick to one thing. So I think it was just a fun transition where she kind of evolved over time into all these different areas.
It'd be fun to know if she just woke up one day and was like, I think we'll try country. Did she say she did R&B?
She did.
Or hip hop?
Yeah, she did a lot of different. Again, I don't know if they were full albums or if they were just collaborations or just kind of for fun. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool.
She did have a great voice. I remember listening
she
to
had a
her
great voice. Yeah. It was amazing.
Yeah.
What I thought was really kind of cool was 1989, she released her first self-described, self-indulgent album, Warm and Tender. which was inspired by her daughter and featured lullabies and love songs for parents and their kids.
Also, never heard of it.
No, but I mean, because she had one daughter named Chloe. So it's like whatever was happening in her life, it was reflected in her music, in her career, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, oh, I love that. So yeah, so because she shifted her career after she had a child,
become a mother, and then
shifted her career after she was started fighting cancer. So she just ebbed and flowed as she went, which was really cool.
Which we talk about all the time.
All the time.
Pivoting.
Yeah.
And that she wasn't, she didn't let age slow that down either.
No.
Because I mean, she was still, like you said, releasing albums, and she was actively involved in many things in her late 60s, early 70s, in the face of cancer, in the face of age, in the face of all the things that we would use as excuses to not continue on in some path. And she just was like, no, this is me, this is my life, this is where I'm at, let's do this.
Absolutely.
Let's do this.
Yeah. So a statement that she said when she was asked about Grease, she said, I think the songs are timeless, they're fun and have great energy. The 50s feel music has always been popular and it's nostalgic for my generation, and then the young kids are rediscovering it every 10 years or so. People buying the album was a good way for them to remember those feelings of watching the movie and feelings of that time period. I feel very grateful to be part of this movie that's still so loved so much.
Is that after the re-release?
Yeah, probably.
After the re-release. Because
it just keeps coming back.
Because you think, if she was 20-something when they did that in the 70s, she would have grown up with 50s music.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So that was her childhood on screen.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I grew up with 50s, 60s music because that's the stuff my dad played. Because that's the stuff his parents played. And so, that genre, like watching that movie for me, I was like, oh, this is all the stuff I grew up listening to. I had told you before, I didn't even know the 80s were happening.
Right.
Like, I was in the 80s, but my dad was busy with the 50s and 60s, and I thought the Beatles were relevant.
That's what we listened to.
I thought that was relevant. I didn't know that Madonna, like I hear these names, and I'm like, I don't know, but meanwhile, Madonna's like making massive waves in the music industry, and I'm still listening to the Beach Boys, who, by the way, just recently toured again.
That doesn't surprise me. That's so funny. But yeah, we were the same way. My dad was all about 50s and 60s, so that's all we listened to.
Yeah, so I guess that we fall into that rediscover category.
Right.
I'm watching Grease in the 80s or whenever it was, and as a kid, and thinking it was relevant.
Exactly. That's cool.
Until I got to college, so that's funny. 1998, you said, was the re-release.
Yeah.
And I was in college at that point, just in college, and that's when I saw it in the theaters. And I thought that was just that theater reviving it. No, it probably was like
it was everywhere.
A national. Okay.
Yeah, because they did it one more time, but it was only for like 2 days. So I think 2008 they did it again. It's like
every decade.
Every decade. So.
Oh, but then 18. What happened to 18?
I don't know if they did 18 or not. Maybe they did. But it's like it seemed like it was getting shorter because like 1998 it was full on. Like it was a
brand new movie release.
Yeah, like it was like full thing for the 20th anniversary. So I think 2008 was probably just like, hey, let's watch it for a couple days, just a quick.
And I think the thing about her that I also loved is that she didn't age the way that you expect someone to age. Like, we think of people in their 70s as being, well, I shouldn't say we. I was always raised that people in their 70s are older and don't do much, and, they've retired and they're sitting around on their porch swings and they're, baking muffins and they're overweight. Because that's what happens when you age, right? And just looking at her, like, she broke so many molds at her age because her generation was not doing that. Like, I'm kind of like, we talked about Top Gun, and I'm kind of laughing because the girl from the original Top Gun, I guess they tried to interview her after the new one came out because she wasn't in it.
She wasn't in it.
And she literally says, I'm old and fat.
She's like, nope.
They were not going to ask me, I'm old and fat. And I was like, and that was a choice. And good for you. Like, some people,
that's what you want to do.
Yeah. But then, there's some, like, at 73 was still looking classy and fabulous and lovely. And
Betty White will tell you, you don't ever have to stop.
Well, Betty was in her,
she
70 was just her teen years.
Right, I know, seriously. Like, she almost hit 100.
Yeah, she was stretching that 100 mark. But I am sad that I won't get to meet Olivia Newton-John this side of heaven.
Yeah.
But I'm honored to know more about her, and should we not all aspire to have that kind of legacy left behind us?
Right.
You know, that even if people don't know us when we're walking her, that when we leave, what they do know about us is inspiring.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, ready for Fun Fact Friday? This one's about Olivia. This one's
We have
about
Fun
Olivia.
Fact. I keep forgetting about Fun Fact Friday.
So Fun Fact Friday for Olivia. This is epic. I did not know this. I'm so excited right
just
now.
talked about was epic
Right.
about her.
Oh, get
like
ready.
45 years. That's pretty epic.
Oh, get
Like,
ready.
You could have saved that for Fun Fact.
I really could have, but this
Okay,
might be even better.
I'm so ready.
So in 1981, she released her most successful studio album, a double platinum called Physical, which strongly reinforced her image, changed by showcasing risque, rock-oriented material. But due to the sexy nature of the album and songs, because she got a lot of flack for it, apparently.
Well, she was supposedly a very
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was a big change for her. So she ended up making an aerobics anthem, which made headbands a fashion accessory outside the gym. And the video was also the first on MTV to depict a gay male couple.
No way.
Yeah.
81,
How's that?
she brought in the first gay male couple and trended
And
headbands.
trended headbands. How epic is that?
Okay, did you wear headband in the 80s? Because I did not.
I did not. I was too young at that point.
So
like,
was I.
could have, but I would have been like 10, so it's like, you weren't really doing
Look
that.
at her making waves.
Yeah, I had no idea. She was the reason the headbands became an accessory outside the gym.
I love how they described her attire. What did they say? Risque material.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, didn't Madonna have cones like a
risque rock-oriented material.
risque rock oriented? Wasn't it like 2 years later Madonna's got cones on stage?
Yes, but Madonna was never. She was never.
You're right,
this.
and that
She was never
I
that,
did
so.
read that she was really seen as like this goody goody.
Yeah.
Even though she had like many boyfriends.
Right, I know.
But it was seen as like, this just this pure thing, and so I guess she was trying to well, apparently Greece, you said 78, right?
Yeah.
Greece was when she was leather clad, was everyone was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how dare she be in all this?
Right.
You know, now you're like, oh, that's so clean.
Right, exactly.
And so I guess she was trying to reinforce that, like, no, like I'm a,
Yeah, like she really wanted to make, she just kept evolving and wanted to make sure everyone was aware of it. So, which I think
In
is
case you didn't
fabulous.
notice.
Hey, right here I am. Get ready.
And the gay community. I can see her having strong support from the gay community.
No, I love it. So she was an amazing woman.
So honored to have her as our showcase.
That's right.
Spotlight.
Spotlight,
For
highlight.
for the
Amazing.
podcast. So we hope you enjoyed learning about Olivia Newton-John with us.
That's right. We'll
And,
see you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.